The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Alongside Carson-Newman baseball coach Tom Griffin, I'm Michael Watchring, and this is the Eagles Sports Network. Carson-Newman gets set to open the doors of the Silver Diamond Baseball Complex Friday against UVA-Wise. And, Coach, first let's look back to last week. We talked about, outside of winning, what would make last weekend a success. Well, you got your guys in close game situations, a lot of different things that they had to see as young players. How do you think that they handled everything in weekend number one?
The key, I think, to that, Michael, is the fact of what our upperclassmen thought, because they're the ones that have to play, and it's their club. And so at the end, when we talked about comments guys had to make, I think that our seniors and some guys that have been in the program 3 years said they were really not surprised, but how happy they were for the freshmen that got opportunities to play and how well they did in their first collegiate game. They did not look overwhelmed at all. They looked prepared mentally and physically and actually did quite well. So that was really, I think, the most positive thing was the young guys and how they performed in their first collegiate weekend series. Conditions weren't great for both teams. It was cold. It was windy. We had to deal with that mentally. We had to deal, like you said, with some adversity, not only based on what we did, but also based on what Limestone did as far as their comeback wins. And I guess when you lose two walk-off wins in one night, usually that's like maybe in the course of a year. We had it all in one night. So, we had to respond the next day. And that's, I guess, as a coaching staff, we were quite pleased on how we came back out that next day and played extremely well, led by Kyle Cagle, obviously.
You talk about some of those young guys in the field. Well, Ethan Goforth, although he saw time last year, he comes out, has a nice first weekend, catches every inning for you. Colby Morgan comes in. You hit him toward the bottom of the lineup in game one, but he comes out and rakes from that point forward. How do you try to continue that momentum for some of these young guys into weekend number two?
Just how you go about your training. I mean, I think each day, how are you training? Is it challenging enough? There's got to be, as a coach, you have to balance resting the bodies a little bit, because we are dealing with a lot of strep throat, flu hitting our team right now pretty good. So you got to let the bodies heal, but at the same time, you got to keep training it, because too much time off from competition, whether it's seeing breaking balls or live fastballs, you're going to be stale. So I think the way the coaching staff, what we've got to try to do is prepare them each day and train them so that when we come back tomorrow, we've been there and done that. And that's the balancing part right now, I think, between the sicknesses, letting the bodies heal, but at the same time keep it highly competitive, highly energized. We felt like in some of the practices, it was kind of like, oh, we're here today, it's a practice. Okay, get our ground balls, we'll do bunting. I can't do that. Can't do that. It's got to be heightened awareness. And as coaches, we had to bring a little bit more energy, because we kind of maybe laissez-faire, and we can't allow that, because we want to take our passion and intensity in training and take it right into our games. We can't just all of a sudden now turn it on Friday and go, oh, it's game day, let's get it turned up here. Can't do that. It's got to be part of our everyday living and part of our everyday life.
One negative that came out of last weekend was defensively. You mentioned some of that passion, some of that heightened awareness. Is that the issue, or is it some fundamental things that you've needed to work on this week?
Great point. Yes, both. Mm-hmm. It's both. I think I think what happens early in the year, especially young guys, make a mistake, the wheels are spinning. What's going on? And so obviously we've got a lot of books out there, a lot of experts in sports psychology trying to teach about how to control the mind. Are we in red light, yellow light, green light, step outside the box, breathe? I mean, we're trying to teach mental part of the game. 30 years ago, we didn't talk about it. You just got ready for the next baseball. But now we've learned that this is important in part of athletics. So, them understanding how to control their emotions. And we think you do that through communicating, that the more you talk, the less you think, actually. And it helps to relax you. And we found that some guys actually were getting more quiet, and you could see the eyes and the deer in the headlight type thought process. And we were wanting them to be like, listen, the more you talk with each other, the more you will relax. Because you got to have a voice next to you. Your wingman, is right there next to you. Kind of like you're in a bunker and there's a bunker about 20 yards away and it's dark out. You want to hear that voice knowing, hey, I got my partner right there. And a lot of times when we get quiet, we get into our own thoughts, into our own head, and create more issues than we need to create. So some of it was that part, and then I think some of it was fundamental. And we talked about this. We thought one of the things we had to keep getting better at is the defensive part of things, because we have some new guys out there. And I think the more we play and the better we can train them, I think the more prepared they'll be come these game times.
It was your first home games of the year. Last year, you were really good at home. 22-6 at home last season. How do you try to bring in what you did last year at home into this season?
Well, your memory is unbelievable. I don't know how you remember these statistics, but you're so good with numbers and the baseball part of stuff. I didn't realize we were 22-6. But I think it's just the natural part. We're there so much. We feel very comfortable, and we talk a lot about the pride of playing at home. I mean, there is a lot of pride with it. You can talk about Mossy Creek. Everything revolves around Mossy Creek. Well, we feel like we're the guardians of it because we're the closest ones to it. So we kind of feel like we're the guardians of Mossy Creek right there. So we got to take care of it first. Like, we're the first line of defense. So we talk a lot about the pride, about what it's like to play here at Carson-Newman, how hard it is to be to come in here and play. And last year it was good. Some years it hasn't been so good. But we feel really good because the weather looks good. We're optimistic everything we're going to be able to play. UVA is good club. Competed very well with them. Hank Banner, and been there a long time. So we know what we're going to get from him and his club. So it's a great opening 2 games. We won't be able to play this weekend. So it's good that we're able to get these 2 in definitely as we get going here.
Coach, thanks for the time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you for everything, Michael.
Thank you, Coach. He's Carson-Newman baseball coach Tom Griffin. I'm Michael Watching, and this is the Eagle Sports Network.